Hi everybody, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and on today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Dead Cells iiRcade Gold Edition. That's right guys, today we're taking a look at the new Dead Cells iiRcade Gold Edition. For those of you who have seen my original iiRcade Standard Edition review, you know I consider the iiRcade to be a premium home arcade product. While the Gold Edition isn't the next iteration of the iiRcade per se because it features the same hardware and games, it does offer some quality of life improvements that will bolster the overall experience. So let's take a look at the Gold Edition and find out if it is worth the upgrade for individuals that already have a standard edition, and if it's the cabinet to get for first-time buyers. I released my first iiRcade review in February of 2021, and here less than 2 years later, I'm reviewing the iiRcade Gold Edition. Not so much a second version of the cabinet, but an upgraded or more premium version of the original. The original iiRcade was already a premium home arcade with great controls, an impressive 19-inch TN monitor, and an expandable game library with the support of the iiRcade Game Store. More than anything else, the machine just felt high quality from top to bottom. It was really good, but it wasn't perfect, as there were many suggestions the community made that would improve the experience, and wouldn't you know it, iiRcade took that constructive criticism and used it to develop this upgraded version of the original cabinet, the iiRcade Gold Edition. The first complaint a lot of members of the home arcade community had about the iiRcade was that it didn't look like a traditional North American arcade cabinet. This was true as it resembled more of a Japanese candy cab, with the cabinet going straight up above the screen displaying the speakers. This is the first thing that iiRcade took into consideration as they changed the form factor to more closely resemble a traditional American arcade cabinet with a section jutting out over the screen for the marquee. Now this isn't 100% accurate, as they elected to go with more of a hook design instead of the boxy look we are familiar with, but I still really like it. Another complaint was that the cabinet didn't feature a light-up marquee, and many individuals took to third-party vendors even to create light boxes to sit on top of the cabinet. iiRcade in the new form factor did include an angled out front area perfect for a light up marquee, and skillfully created one of the best designed light boxes I have personally seen on a home arcade product. The marquee is bright and vibrant, and there is great color distribution throughout with no visible hotspots. The marquee material is well printed and there is no light bleed or washout. However, the product I received did include a matte finish instead of glossy. I reached out to iiRcade and confirmed that all future versions would receive a glossy marquee, and that anyone who received a matte finish marquee would receive a replacement piece to correct this oversight, so problem solved. One area where really no one was complaining with the initial cabinet and all the various versions of it was the art, which was incredible. I had the standard edition with just the basic iiRcade design that I really dug, especially for a multicade, but as time went on, so many cabs came out with amazing high gloss artwork representing one of the great games in the library or on the game store. With the release of the Gold, there wasn't an option to select an original iiRcade cabinet, so I selected the art and color scheme that I thought looked the best, which was the Dead Cells cabinet, and I am so glad that I did. This artwork is breathtaking, with so much detail going into the overall design. I absolutely love it, despite not even being that drawn in by the game it is based on. The motif is amazing with so many gothic style characters, and the color scheme I am just enamored with. It is absolutely the statement piece in my office arcade. One area of the design that I do wish they would consider changing is on the control panel, with the button coloring being so different than the overall cab design. I get that you want to stay true to the iiRcade brand with the orange and black buttons, but they do contrast in a slightly offensive way on this control panel, and I much rather would have saw some purple buttons here in their place. One last really impressive piece is the speaker grill for highlighting the JBL audio. When I saw this in pictures originally, I didn't think too much of it, figuring it just to be a gimmicky design thing with plastic parts. I should have known better from iiRcade, because when I took this piece out of the box, the grill was metal and had some weight to it and looks absolutely awesome on this machine. So yeah, there are some pretty awesome upgrades to this cabinet, especially cosmetically, that in my opinion improve the overall experience and make it feel more like a traditional arcade cabinet. But looks aren't the only thing to pay attention to on the iiRcade Gold Edition. Before I go over any other upgrades, I do have to cover some basic specs, many of which will be similar to the original iiRcade. First thing I want to cover is the 19-inch 5x4 HD monitor that comes included. The screen is bright and vibrant and displays colors and visuals beautifully on this cabinet. The screen, however, is a TN monitor, which has been a hot topic of debate in the home arcade community as of late. Luckily, this particular monitor uses different backlighting from many of the monitors we have been discussing and does not suffer from similar issues with discoloration from small angles or when looking at it from across the room. It's the same monitor that was in the original iiRcade and performs just as well for those who already have one. The speakers were always great with the 1.21 gigawatt sound system on the original, but they have yet again improved the experience by adding the JBL audio software. The games sound different, more expansive. Maybe that is just me, but I do notice a difference in the audio quality. The buttons and sticks feel really nice and are the same quality as the original iiRcade. The original cabinet featured ball tops, while the Gold Edition comes with bat tops, which are really nice and a North American inclusion for fighting games and beat-em-ups traditionally. I will say that the sticks seem to be tighter and feel better to use, so I would assume they used a heavier spring to increase the tension compared to the original. One issue many people had with the original cabinet is that you could not open up the control deck and modify your sticks and buttons, as many people like to do with home arcade products without voiding the warranty. This was because the brains of the unit were actually located in the control panel area. On the Gold Edition, this has been relocated to behind the screen, and now you are able to modify your buttons and sticks as you see fit, but again, the stock controls are really good, so not a necessity. Speaking of controls, if you look under the panel, you may notice the inclusion of 2 USB ports. These aren't there to charge your phone and will actually be used to allow third-party accessories being made by Glenn's Retro Show to be used with the cabinet, allowing you to play new games with different control schemes. As we know, there is already a trackball and spinner in the works, and maybe even some light guns eventually. What was that line John used to say? Anything is possible? Well, in terms of controller support, it really is. So it's a beautiful cabinet with stunning high-gloss art, a beautiful well-lit marquee that has awesome picture quality and audio fidelity with high-quality arcade controls and the options to add more. What more could you ask for in a home arcade product? Well, you probably want some good games, right? Does iiRcade have what you're looking for? The iiRcade game library is an interesting topic, as there are some really good arcade games there, some modern console games that you wouldn't think fit on an arcade but so totally do, and a mix of hidden gems and games that are just kinda okay. The truth is, many of the top tier arcade hits that you may be looking for aren't on the arcade and may never show up in the store, but there is something for almost everybody. The cabinet comes included with 11 games ranging from a mix of arcade hits like Dragon's Lair and Double Dragon, which are standout titles, and some really cool modern console games like Beach Buggy Racing and Bomb Squad. Of course, the library is expandable through the online game store, where a large number of super cool arcade and modern games await for you to purchase and add to your library. Prices are fairly reasonable, in line with what you would find the same games for on consoles and PC, and easily download directly to your console. I do wish, however, you could access the game store directly through the machine and not need the additional step through the PC. The games play great, and many of which offer online multiplayer, with more titles being added to the online library weekly. Each title also offers screen filtering options to add smoothing or scan lines. I personally prefer sharp pixels for my retro gaming and leave this feature turned off. The game library is also continually growing, and iiRcade have over 100 games currently in development for the console. I can't necessarily speak to the overall quality of the game library because that is subjective to what you like, but there really is a lot of great arcade games there to explore and maybe find some new favorites, and honestly, don't sleep on the more modern games, because while it may seem weird to try these on a home arcade, they really do fit and create a unique and enjoyable experience that has personally become my go-to with this home arcade. Overall, I think the iiRcade Gold Edition is an excellent home arcade product and a marked improvement over the original. Do you need to upgrade if you already have an iiRcade? Probably not, as it really won't let you do a whole lot more other than the controller accessories through the USB port. But I do think the quality of life improvements, such as the form factor, light up marquee, and JBL audio, really do improve the overall experience, and I definitely don't regret purchasing mine. For first-time buyers, I think that the iiRcade Gold Edition is the definitive version to buy. However, I do caution that you should go and check out the game store and make sure you are interested in the games there and that level of quality going forward. So guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the iiRcade Gold Edition? If you already had an iiRcade, did you or would you purchase this upgraded version? And if you've never owned an iiRcade before, did this upgraded version make you interested in buying one for the first time? Anyways guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.